On today's episode, we'll be talking about my Emma top, my continued whip, a new cast on, as well as spinning progress. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm coming to you from coastal South Carolina, and I have just been so busy crafting and working and creating. It's been so great. Today I'm burning my Royal Palm candle. This is one of the hand-poured candles that are in my shop, and it's a beautiful, sophisticated, slightly coconutty, slightly tropical scented candle. It reminds me of summer, and that's why I love to burn it. And we're actually here in summer right now, which is finally my happy time of the year. Everything's good, it's hot, it's humid, I love it. I also wanted to share with you these earrings I'm wearing. These are some that my daughter has made. I know I have shared with you her earrings in the past. She made me some for Mother's Day. So cute. It's her new creative niche and I absolutely am so proud of her. But I encouraged her to open up a shop so she can earn some money this summer, and so she did. I'm going to link it below. It is called SEABREEZE Co. She chose the name and I love it, and she sells earrings, so these statement earrings like this. She also sells multi-stud packs, and so if you're into smaller earrings, which is normally what I wear, but I'm so proud of her for making these, and I love them. She uses bright, colorful polymer clay, and so they're really lightweight and fun. So if you're interested in checking out what my oldest daughter has been up to, I will link it below. She's 14, and I can't even imagine having a shop like this when I was 14. It's just crazy. She's actually not into knitting or sewing or anything like that at all, and I have tried so hard. I've tried so hard to get her into that, and that's just not her thing, which is fine. And so I kind of thought maybe she just wasn't really into anything hand making, things like that, but she really got into polymer clay, and so I couldn't be more proud of her. And I mean, in a little way, in a kind of a mom selfish way, I'm really encouraging the crafting because I know what a joy it is in my life, and so I'm really excited that she's found her creative niche, and I'm really encouraging her to pursue that because it's just fun. It's so nice to have some kind of handcraft in your life. So anyway, I'm really proud of her, and I wanted to share that with you today. Okay, so I have continued to knit on my Emma top. This is Emma number 2. And I'm actually at the point where I am dividing the front. I'm at a bit of a standstill because I have ordered a new needle. Right now I'm using Chiaogus, but they're very long. I'll show you here in a minute how long they are. So this is very awkward right now because, as you can see, it's kind of divided into two, and I will have some decreases and then into the straps here on the front. So this is a tank, and it's sleeveless, and it's knit into 2 pieces. So this is the front, and this is the needle that I'm using right now. It's so long, and I'm sure it is for a shawl because it's so long, but it's getting unwieldy at this point, especially because this is how wide the section is. It's, I don't think even 50 stitches, so it's pretty small. And what I did is I just put one of my really small circular needles from my Addie interchangeable set with the connector here just to hold these stitches. So I should be getting that new Chiaogu needle in the mail soon, but The reason I stuck with Gu, I know some of you who may have followed me for a long time know that I love adding needles, and this was the size that I had, and I had this needle in my needle stash, and so I just went with it. And they are not as slippery as my Addi Turbos, but they're doing okay. I really like how flexible the cable is, and to be honest, this is a really nice needle for this yarn. This yarn is Bamboo Pop by Universal Yarns, and it's in the color Winter Squash, and it's 50% cotton, 50% bamboo, so it's a really slippery, I'd say it's a pretty smooth yarn. It's slightly splitty, but I'm used to that because I've already knit with this before, so I'm used to that and I'm aware of that. But it's such a great yarn for summer and just warm weather in general. So far this is going great. I have followed the pattern to a T, have not deviated at all. And so how the pattern is, it's knit from the bottom up. It has these really neat decreases right here that are the side vents, I guess. And then it will be stitched together right here, and then right here I am starting the decrease again. So again, there's not a lot of progress to see. Hopefully next week I'll have some more visible progress. But this is knit in a half brioche stitch, so it does keep it a little interesting. It's not just a, your normal knit one, purl one rib, so it's really stretchy. It just gives a little interest to the pattern, especially when this was a bit monotonous, the body, obviously. So this next part is getting a little more interesting. I have to pay attention a little more, but so far so good. I've just kind of resigned myself to the fact that this is going to be a longer term project for me. And by longer term, I'm thinking month and a half. I hadn't planned on wearing this until the fall anyway, and so I'm getting a jump start, and hopefully we'll get that finished in time to wear in the fall. I originally bought 2 balls of this. This is how much I have of the first ball, and so we'll see how far this makes it. I should be fine with 2 balls. I'm knitting the second size, and normally I'd knit the first size, but because this yarn I have found is a little thinner than a DK weight, I like to size up just in case. I definitely don't want to knit it too tight. I do not want a tank top that's too tight. I'd rather have looser rather than tighter. My next project is that I have started my annual dishcloth knitting. This has been kind of a tradition for the past couple of years. I love dishcloth knitting when I go to the beach because it is the perfect fiber, it's 100% cotton, and it's mindless knitting, and I can set it down and pick it up very quickly. So I really enjoy knitting dishcloths at the beach, and I carry them in this project bag, which I used to make and I haven't made for quite a while. I should think about restocking some of these because I really enjoy these just personally. I think these are a really, really great project bag. They have asymmetrical handles and they're fully lined. But the great thing about these handles is you put the longer one into the smaller one like this, and that's the closure. So you just have a really simple closure, and you stick it on your wrist and you can just hold it like this. And what I do is I feed my yarn through, so I just keep my cake of yarn in the bag, feed it through, and actually knit at the same time. And it's really easy on my wrists and my arms. I've never had any problems with strain. So that's just kind of my go-to. That's what I really like doing when I go to the beach. I knit a few rows. I never get an entire dishcloth done. But it's not really, it definitely is a process knit for me, which is very unusual. I am always a project knitter. I love accomplishing the projects, but this definitely is just kind of long-term, pick it up as you go. I really enjoy this. So let me show you what I've been working on. I have been using Dishie from Knit Picks, and this has been my go-to. I've used, you know, different brands like Peaches and Cream, and I think the other one's like Sugar and Cream maybe. I'm not really sure. But this Dishie is, I kind of like the quality a little better. I feel like it's maybe just a little smoother, but then also you can always get this Dishie. It's very, it's in stock usually. It's just easier to find for me. And so again, this is from Knit Picks. It comes in these little cakes. You can also get the cones. I do have a few cones. I like to weave dishcloths with those cones. But anyway, these are just so portable. And this color is called Lilac Mist. And all of these dishcloths that I am knitting here in the near future will be gifts. But I just finished this one last night. You know, I didn't really want to do any kind of mindful knitting. I wanted to do mindless knitting. And so I finished this dishcloth last night, and I didn't even cut the yarn. I mean, that's how fresh this is. So this is Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth by PJ Allen. This is kind of my go-to dishcloth knitting pattern, and this is all kind of stretched out and funky. I must have a different row gauge than my stitch gauge anyway. But what I do is I knit the dishcloth pattern, and by the way, if you go on Ravelry, it's free, so it's a really it's accessible to everybody. And this is a free pattern. I believe I got it on Ravelry years ago. And it is a wonderful pattern. The increases, it's knit from corner to corner. And so you start here just with a few stitches and you increase. Now in the pattern, you have the option of increasing with a yarn over, which creates these cute little decorative eyelets in the dishcloth. I prefer just to do a knit front back for my increases, just to give it a little more structure and help it last longer. Maybe, I don't know if it really does. But anyway, it's knit from corner to corner, and then once you get to the middle, you have a few rows of just stockinette stitch basically, and then you start your decreases down to the opposite corner. So I've already finished one cloth, and then this is the second one. But one thing I have done differently this year, I couldn't find the needle I normally use, and I believe the pattern is written for a size 7 needle. I always size down, so I normally used a size 6. I don't know why I couldn't find my size 6 needle. No idea. So this year I'm actually using a size 5 needle, which is 2 sizes smaller than the pattern, but I love the resulting fabric. And it's no harder on my wrists or my hands. I'm always weary of cotton, you know, 100% cotton yarn, because it just doesn't have that nice give and stretch and bounce like wool does. But I have had no problems knitting this so far on the smaller needles, and I really like the resulting fabric. Now, I do have to say, we have not hit our super hot, humid weather yet. We have definitely not reached the peak. And so once it does get to August, September, it's going to be really hot and humid, and maybe that size 5 just isn't going to work out as well. But we'll just see. We'll play it by ear and see what happens with that. So yeah, I just want to give you a dishcloth update. I don't know how often I will be giving these updates. I probably won't be showing you every time. Maybe I'll just show you when I have some finished. But it's always fun to see. I love seeing people's dishcloths, and I love creating very practical items, even if they are like a Stephen West shawl, which is crazy, but you can wear it. So in my mind, that's practical. But dishcloths definitely fit the practical group, the practical category. My next project, I actually just cast it on. It is the Storm Shawl by Joji Locatelli, and I've been talking about this for the past several weeks, that I really wanted to cast this on, and even before that, I've wanted to cast this project on for quite a while, so I finally did. And here is what I have so far. This is a crescent shaped shawl. It has some short rows, so I believe it's going to end up a bit asymmetrical. But as you can tell, it is going to be fairly wide. I think those short rows will add a little bit of depth to it. I'm knitting these on a size smaller. These are, I believe, a size 6. Yes, which is a 4mm needle. And so far I'm loving this pattern. The neat thing is it has some really neat design elements, like all these dropped stitches. You can probably see those, but they're repeated through the pattern. So you have some interesting design details like the dropped stitches, but then once you understand those and you learn those are just repeated several times through the pattern. And then you do have some garter rows as well, so it kind of breaks it up. I love this color. I'm going to give you a close-up here in a minute, but this is one of my end of the day colorways that I saved a skein for myself because I knew I was going to love knitting this. This pattern looks so beautiful in all different kinds of yarns, but I've been looking for one skein, especially shawls, one skein shawl projects that really make a variegated speckled skein of yarn shine, because so many of us love to purchase those. A lot of times just on a whim, we just love those beautiful skeins of yarn, and it's just nice to have those one skein projects ready to go. You know, it's just nice to know, to have some options what to do with those skeins. And of course you can always make socks with them, and that's really, really fun. But I love one skein shawl projects. So let me give you a close-up of this beautiful yarn. As you can probably see, it's knit quite loosely, so this garter stitch right here is really stretchy and lots of space between the stitches. This is a fingering weight yarn, and you can see all those colors. That's very usual in my end of the day colorways because I use so many bottles of dye. But you can see right here, you can see a beautiful eyelet pattern, and then of course you have these large drop stitches, which are so fun. I really love how this is turning out. So as you can tell, I still have a ton of yarn left over. This should be a fairly good sized shawl. I think it will use the entire cake of yarn. And what I'm going to do is use as much of the yarn as I can, and then maybe do the edging in a tonal color or a different color, just because I want to make sure that I use all the yarn I can without having any leftovers. We'll see when I actually get to the end, but I just love the royal blue in here and the turquoise, and I envision this as a beautiful kind of a holiday colorway. I think this would be so pretty with like a cranberry colored shirt, or even something royal blue. I think it'd be really pretty with black, because it's these darker colors really shine in this, but then there's pops of brights. And so it's just, I don't know, it's going to be really, really cool to see how it turns out. So far so good. It's just a little baby shawl. The spinning I've been working on is my purple passion flower spin. I'm spinning this on my Krumsky Minstrel, and I love that wheel, and this has been such a fun spin. I've been trying to do a little bit every morning. More successful some mornings than others, but I'm really trying to incorporate that into my schedule, even if it's just 15 minutes. So far this colorway is just beautiful. It's these kind of olive green and purples. These will be a 2-ply yarn, and I am all done spinning this up. I just need to ply, which is so much fun, and I just wanted to give you a progress update on that. I attempted to do a fractal spin on this, so I divided the top into half and then split each half lengthwise into a different number. So I think I did on this, and I could be wrong, but normally what I do is I will split it, you know, one half I will split into 4 sections, and then the other I will split into 6 or 8, depending on the width of the top. And so it just kind of depends on the fiber and the width of the top, because sometimes splitting a length of top into 8 lengthwise sections, they get very, very thin, and it doesn't really work out for the colorway or the fiber. So it just kind of depends, but that's usually how I do my fractal spins. And the reason I do that is because I really like to get a barber pole effect. I'm not going for any kind of solids in my finished yarn. I really want it to be all blendy and random, and it's just, I love that look. So hopefully the next time you see this, it will be all plied up. I know I said that last week, but that was this week. And so I am looking forward to finishing this just because I have my eyes set on other projects. This is one that I am really excited to spin up. I just dyed this. This is one of my colorways, Pink Sea Glass, and it is so beautiful. I just love all the pops of color. So one way I really like to dye my own fiber is I dye it kind of randomly. It has a lot of pops of saturated color, but then I like kind of speckling it as well with little accents of color. So, you know, whether this yellow, and I have some deeper purples in here, they probably won't make a huge statement on the finished yarn, but it makes the fiber look really pretty. So this will probably be my next spin. We'll see. This is a superwash merino, and usually my superwash merino is a little, it has a little more undyed sections, just where the dye strikes more quickly on the rest, but I really like that. I think it's really pretty. So I was really excited, so I decided to reserve this for myself. And I might start this next. I'm not really sure, because I do have that fiber that I purchased from Emily from Wolfing that is beautiful. Cannot wait to start spinning that. I'm still working on my fiber club from June, and it's almost finished, and I'll share that with you in the future. But once I dye up the pre-orders from July, I will also reserve myself a braid of that and spin it up. So those are still open in case you're interested in the shop. I will link it below. But anyway, I just want to share this with you because it was just sitting here, and I love the colors in this. It's so pretty. So that is about it for me this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying all of your crafting, whether that be knitting or weaving or spinning, wherever you are. I hope you're having so much fun with it. If you liked this episode, I'd love if you'd give it a thumbs up. I will see you next week with another episode, and until then, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.